All right. So, I was just checking my sound, and if you notice that sound I just played, that's the augmented triad, and that's what today's topic is going to be about. We're going to focus on the 5/7, so we're going to focus on the 5 chord of the 2/5 and using an augmented triad over it. Now, if you don't know what an augmented triad is, don't worry, I will explain it to you. And what's up, Pierce? Sorry, my eyes are bad, so I have to look real close at the screen. I usually don't wear sunglasses when I'm on or glasses when I'm on camera because of the reflection and stuff. Anyways, so the augmented sound. Now, if you don't know what an augmented triad is, no worries, I got you. So let's talk about the augmented triad first, and then we'll talk about how we use it over the 5 chord and what kind of sound it makes over the 5 chord. Then we'll talk about how to finish, how to end a line after you use an augmented triad, and then also how to lead into an augmented triad. So I'm going to give you all those little nuggets today. But first we have to start with the basics, which is what is an augmented triad? Now, an augmented triad is 3 major thirds. So it's a note, then it's a major third above it, and then a major third above that. And that's how you get the augmented sound. You could think of a major triad and then raising the 5th up a half step too. However you think of it is fine, but that's how it's built. It's built basically major triad, then a major triad, and then if you want to go up again, you're at the first note. You're at the root. So let me play one for you. I'm going to play G. So this could be G, B, or E flat augmented because they're all the same triads. So it sounds like this. So I play G, B, E flat, and then G again. And you can start that from any note in that same thing. So here's from B, and here's from E flat. So it's a very distinct sound. And when I talk about this, I'm going to be talking about it as G augmented. So when I talk about the different inversions, I'll let you know that I'm in a different inversion, meaning I'm not starting from G. I'm starting from either B or E flat. So now that you know the augmented triad, what does that? Now this is just one augmented triad. Next week I'm going to go into different augmented triads to use over the 5 chord, but I want to focus on just this one. So if we're playing over G7 and we use this triad, G, B, E flat, what notes are we getting? So we're going to be getting the G, obviously, is the root. The B is the third, and the E flat is the note that kind of makes your ears go, whoa, what was that? What was that cool sound, that dissonance? That is a flat 13 or a flat 6. So that's a really cool sound to play over any dominant chord. It's a really nice color tone, and it can lead you into the 1 pretty nicely. And I'll show you that here in a second. So that's the sound you're hearing. So when you're thinking of these, you're thinking, okay, I'm playing, this sound. I'm playing this flat 13 sound with the root and the third, and this is what it sounds like. And what I do is I typically think of the chord I'm on when I'm playing an idea. So I'm thinking G7, I'm playing this idea. Now I could be thinking B7, and I could also be thinking E flat 7. Remember, this works over those 3 chords, which is pretty cool. Thank you, Scorch 8. Yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, thanks for the compliment. Enhanced Lemons, man. You guys have some great handles. I love it. So how do we use this sound over the 5/7 chord? Well, pretty straightforward. You can play it as 1 3 5, that sharp 5, 1 3 sharp 5, and then back to the 1. So you can just play stuff like that over the 5 chord. Now, if this is a short 2/5 and we have 2 beats, you can play it as eighth notes, right? But where are we going? Where does that go? How do we end that? So let me go ahead and end it. So I'm going to do the same thing. So think of this as two beats, and I'm hitting starting on G, coming down that augmented triad. So I'm going G, E flat, B, then G. Then I'm going to finish it off, and I'm going to do a 9-1. So 2-1 on the one chord. So it sounds like this. Right? So it's a nice little ending. But what if you want to start this? Let me drink something real quick. Sorry. Yeah, I know this is a 2-5 Tuesday on a Wednesday, but I apologize. I wasn't feeling well yesterday. So, hey, 2-5 Tuesday doesn't control when I put it up, right? So now we have, what if we want to start on a different chord tone? What if we want to start on the B? So we have this sound, and I'm going to descend again. So where do I go? Where do I go there? Now I'm ending on the B. So if I'm resolving to a C major chord, I can go a half step up and hit the C, which is a nice half step resolution. That's what we're always searching for, right? So we could do something like this. Right? So I just went 1-5, ba 1-5. And that's getting into my ear more now. Now, what if I wanted to start on the E flat? So this one's also really cool. So I'm going to go E flat. I'm going to go down beat to B, down to G, and then go down to E flat. And now E flat, what's E flat next to? What's the closest note that E flat's next to in C? It's E, which is the third of C. So it's another half step resolution, which is really pretty. So let's do that one. So we're going to go E flat, B, G, E flat, and then we're going to resolve it. So I just played E flat, B, G, E flat, do, da. That's 3-1, and jump up to the 1. You can end it however you want. You could do right. That's a pretty classic bird ending. So how do we? So there's all the endings. I mean, and you can get crazy with the endings, right? Like you can do whatever you want, and you don't have to stick to descending. You can go ascending. You can mix and match, right? You can go. Right. That's just, I'm just messing around with like the different patterns. So it's all the same sound. So really get it in your ear first. I think keeping it in, um, that 1-3 sharp 5 to 1 kind of idea is keeps it restricted, and also keeps you kind of focused on the sound of it. And then from there, once you get comfortable with the sound and in your ears, then you can start exploring. So leading into it. So I want to show you a couple ways to lead into it. So let's say we have a full bar of 5, like we have the full 5-7 or any dominant chord. I'm going to do an enclosure into that pattern and then end it. So we're starting to construct an actual idea over the 5-7 chord. Not that we don't already have an idea, but now we're building out an entire bar of eighth notes to really develop some bebop language over. So the first one I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do an enclosure into the G, that G7, or the G as the root. So this is the ending that we played. So let's do an intro into that. So it sounds like this. So I'm doing an enclosure, starting on the A, going down a half step, then I'm approaching the G for a half step below. Right? So that's one enclosure you can do. Now this isn't the only way to do it. I'm just showing you how to build out some bebop language and give you some ideas on this sound and how to create this sound into your own playing. And this is just one way. This isn't the end all be all. And obviously, without this, if you guys know me and know my stuff, this all should be practiced slowly and deliberately, so you can really get it into your ears and under your fingers, and sing it, of course. I've already done enough singing today, but if anybody has any requests to sing, then I will. But I doubt I'll get any of those requests. So let's do that enclosure again. So that's a full bar of 5 resolving into the 1. Now that could be a short 2/5 too. You could play that over a short 2/5. So now let's do an enclosure into the B, and we're going to take the B down that augmented triad again and then finish the same way we did before. So it sounds like this. So I'm doing that. Starting a half step above the B on the C, jumping down to the A, and then chromatically going up to the B. That's my enclosure into that. So I almost played that first ending. You could play that too. Right. Okay, then last one is going to be an enclosure into the E flat, and then bringing that down and then finishing it. So we're going to go enclosure into that. So I'm going to start on the F. So I'm starting on the F, going down a half step. Then I'm going to approach the E flat from a half step below. So it sounds like this. Right? And however you want to end it. This is very, very basic, but also very, very important foundational stuff that can really start transforming the way you're hearing things and the way you're understanding bebop language. So those enclosures really add something to just throwing in a augmented triad, and the endings also add into just throwing into augmented triads. So first, I would learn all the augmented triads, play them in all inversions. Now the great thing is that there's only 4. I'm pretty sure 4. Yeah, there's 4 augmented triads, because each of them contain 3 augmented triads, right? So if you are playing along or messing around with this and you're playing G, B, E flat, you've learned G augmented, you've learned B augmented, and you've learned E flat augmented. So you've already learned 3. So 3 out of the 12 are done, and you have 9 left. But technically, you only have 3 left because the other 9 are all grouped together in 3s as well. Kind of crazy, like mind-blowing how music works like that, so symmetrical, for the most part. But anyways, that is the lesson for the day, for the week. Next week, the plan is to talk about another augmented triad that we can use over any dominant chord that brings out other colors, not just the 1, 3, and the flat 13. It's going to bring out different colors. So if you learn your augmented triads over the next week, you're going to have the sound in your ear, first off, most importantly. And then you're also going to know how to resolve it, which is also important. And you're also going to be able to kind of understand how these different augmented triads can work together to create some really, really cool, I don't know if I want to say modern sounds, but like definitely a different sound than maybe you're used to hearing. So that's it. That's it for today. Appreciate you all checking it out. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Thanks for allowing me to be a day late. And yeah, I will see you all next week. And just remember, always positive, always progressing. Later.